I mean, I figured we've been recording.
Listen, our viewership is like counting us plus 2.
Big Cat watched one video.
Yeah, but I'd really rather that not be on the internet, so that's getting...
It's on the
internet.
internet.
It's on the internet.
How much it gets viewed is a different story.
No, Chase,
Yeah.
you're cutting that for sure, or else I'm never coming back.
Ooh.
I am putting that ultimatum.
That was a threat.
I don't know if I want to run for office, but I might want to run for office.
What kind of office?
And I already got blackface on my resume.
Same.
Wait, when did you do
timer? This
blackface?
episode is going. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, we
When
know.
did you do blackface?
Chase, what are we talking about?
We're talking.
Okay, you
we're
want-
talking about blackface now.
Okay, we're because Chase doesn't say anything. He just smiles and looks in 2 different directions. Like. Welcome to BakaTaka. I'm your host again because I don't care what Chase says. Clear to my left, which I guess is your right, is no. Clear to my left.
Bang.
And then to my middle,
Me.
and then to me is
You
Jeff.
already introduced yourself. I think.
All right, Chase, what are we talking about? This part's getting cut because it's gonna just smoothly
This
transition
episode is brought
to
to
the
you by
top.
our moms.
True facts. I'm sure all our mothers are thrilled right now.
My mom's not.
So just so you guys know, I picked these groups for this time just to see if the newest 3 can do well on their own. Pretty much without, like the original
What?
3, which is us 3.
You telling me not to talk? Cool.
No,
Wait, what?
saying-
No, yeah, well, you're one of the new 3.
Yeah, you're one of the new 3.
I don't know how you're one of the new
Oh.
3 because you were in the old group.
I'm not
but
one of the OG 3.
You're not one of the OG 3.
I'm season 2, 3. I'm the redhead girl from Stranger Things.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
basically, I just wanted
Who does
to
that make
see-
me?
That makes you.
I'm Tommy.
I don't know. I
I'm Tommy
can't.
from Power
Tommy?
Rangers. I come in.
That means nothing to me.
All right, this is.
I never watched Power
This
Rangers.
is bad. Chase, what are we talking about?
He's the Black Ranger?
That's up to you guys.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's up to us.
So
What are we talking about?
the Nationals,
Suck.
a hot and spicy 19 and 35.
Something like that.
So
that sounds roughly.
We finally won a
really
series
correct.
against the Rockies at home. We won 2 of 3. Proceed to get swept by the Mets out of 4.
Checks out.
And we're currently 1-1 against the Reds with 2 more left to play. We have technically a worse winning percentage than the Reds. We have 1 more win, but played less games.
The Reds suck though.
They put 8 up on us the day before.
To be fair though, at the beginning of the season, when the Reds were like 3 and like 20 or something, whatever they were, the Braves were over half of their wins. So I can't really talk about the Reds.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So the Nationals are very bad. You don't watch baseball.
Oh, I hate baseball.
So
Why do you hate baseball?
Yeah, why do you hate baseball? What is it about?
Like everybody, the main
So-
complaint I always hear about baseball is that it's too slow.
Back when I was about 13.
Oh, so this is going to be anecdotal why it's bad, not objectively
I
why
hit
it's
right
bad.
above the knee.
Okay.
That, and they kept putting me in right field. Never got to play.
So you don't,
I really hate it.
you dislike baseball because you have malice, not because there's
Oh,
something.
I also don't like to sit at games. I went to a game because we had free tickets one time.
Okay.
And the whole time there's just a
What game?
I was about to
yeah,
say,
what,
what-
is it
what-
Major
what
League,
team?
minor
Major League.
league?
It was Major League game.
Okay.
It was a Nats game.
Okay.
And the
Were
whole
you in the
time-
nosebleeds?
I wasn't really watching. But either way.
I hate baseball. I went to a game. I wasn't
Well,
watching, but
the whole time there's just this group behind us, and they were just doing their homework. It was like a family, and like the kid was doing their homework while at the game. And
why did that detract from your enjoyment
well,
of
here's
watching the
where-
game?
Here's where it comes in.
Okay.
It's like the whole time, one of them was just coughing on me.
You could have moved. If you're in the
Yeah.
nosebleeds, there's plenty more. You could have moved
But I
somewhere.
was so young, I didn't think about that. I was just like, this was my seat.
Would you have thought about it now?
No, I would have been like, this is my seat.
He,
But no.
he paid for that seat with his free ticket.
Yeah,
for a
you
free
did.
ticket,
So you're
and
gonna
I kept getting
sit in that
coughed
seat.
on. I was just very upset. That and then it's just a lot of sitting around watching people, and then they do stuff.
Couldn't all sports be said to be the same thing?
And I don't really enjoy watching any sports, actually.
Oh.
I like him playing sports. Like, I would say it depends, because like if I'm watching rugby get played, like whenever like other teams are playing, it's fun because I know I'm gonna play them eventually. Or it's like I'm close. Like there's like a small piece of rope. That's the only thing keeping me from running with. That and my
Wait,
pride.
what?
Weird transition, but okay. All right.
Beyond that, it's just.
Do you know enough about baseball to know what they could do to baseball to make you like watching it?
Yeah. Like, why do you enjoy playing rugby as opposed to playing like baseball?
Contact sports. I like contact
Baseball's
sports.
a contact sport.
But it's not the same. Also,
True.
with rugby, it's a continuous game.
Baseball is as well.
Yeah, baseball is.
Well, in the sense of like when the player goes down, it's not like in baseball. It's like you hit the bat, you hit the ball, you run to your base. Then they set up another series where the pitcher goes up against another
Not
guy.
necessarily,
Well,
because
yeah,
it's still in play.
It's
until-
still-
you
yeah.
always have to be paying attention.
Yep.
That is true. That did get me.
Yeah. See, sounds like you might be the problem here, not baseball.
Again,
Pause real quick. Yep. Fill your mouth down.
Little too far.
Oh, I thought.
a little tip.
You said a little bit,
Sorry,
not all the
didn't-
way.
didn't
Maybe
Now
you
you
get
know.
it at your mouth. Yeah, there you go.
Mine is
that.
pointed like at my chin.
That's
That's Ben's yours is good enough. I can
Okay.
hear you well.
so you like constant action. You like contact sports. Why does baseball not offer this for you?
I don't know. I think it also depends on like the level of interaction with everyone, right? So when you go from the beginning, it's just the pitcher,
Mm-hmm.
the baseman, and the back and forth the batter, and then the outfield really doesn't do much.
They
right?
do.
Not when the ball's being thrown.
They gotta be.
They-
They gotta
they
be
gotta be
ready.
ready to
Because if
get-
that ball
goes
gets cranked,
over.
you might need to cover 100 meters
That's
like that.
true.
I was about to say, plus the outfielders theoretically should be backing up pretty much everything that's going on in the infield.
Again, that is also true.
So they might not be directly involved with the play, but they're still doing
They're
stuff.
still ready. But
So-
like with
so continue.
rugby, it's different in the sense where it's continuous, and if you're not in the right spot at the right time, there could be a freaking 70-yard break.
You are defining baseball. Continue.
I don't know. It's also, I think, more free-formed, too. With rugby, you're, like, free-formed in the sense you're not... The batter has to run around the bases.
True.
What they do is systematically going around the diamond. Now, obviously, they can go forwards, backwards. They can steal a little bit and then have to run
Yes.
back.
All games have
It's
rules.
very dynamic in that sense, right? Rugby is also dynamic. You can't throw the ball forward. You have to throw it backwards. You can only kick it forward, stuff like that. But in a sense, it's more of like the line and the way you get to the end point, it seems to have a little bit more interaction and interplay. And there's like special things that make it interesting. Like if you do a knock-on. So that means if you go for the ball and you knock it forward, you get a scrum, which are really interesting. That's 9 guys versus 9 guys pushing each other in a tug of war kind of sense. And then you have throw-ins where you're just lifting one guy in the air. And it's a different feel, and it's a lot more, I think, just dynamic. And I feel like it gets everyone in and more people in play, like right where the ball is. However, at the same time, it does kind of get winded down a little bit. I've only done 7s, which is 7 minutes of gameplay. So it's like 2 rounds, 2 halves. And it's just 7 minutes and then 7 minutes. So it's like full out sprints. If I say I did that, I did 1 minute of one game before so I did that. So I just know, for me, it's just the continuous, like, you know where you are and you know that you will be getting a ball. Where baseball, it's, I don't know. Less engaging.
I mean, in baseball, if you're playing, you will have to bat
Yeah.
eventually.
That's also
Right. And the interaction between the pitcher and the hitter and with the catcher is pretty wild and comparable, I would say, to the different play sets that seem to happen in rugby.
Yeah.
Like, I realize it's kind of a one-on-one, which is a little different than a 7-on-7, crotch grabbing fest. But at the same time, there's a lot of variability in what will happen with that ball coming to you.
That's very true. And I do agree that there is a lot of interesting, but at the same time, it's like, if I'm not playing, it can seem slow. Where rugby, it's like, again, it's kind of like a mix between football and soccer, where it's just
True.
The ball is always moving somewhere. It's not like the ball gets taken, you're down, you have like 30 seconds to pick a play and then go. It's ball's down, number 9's yelling something at you, and then he's having the outside back yelling something to the wings. The wings are getting ready to run to try to get the ball. And then the context.
So what do you think about basketball?
Garbage.
I think it's interesting. It's just, it's not a sport I like to play. So
The NBA is garbage. So what was it? Fact check me on this. I'm pretty sure it's the Celtics and Golden State in the finals right now. And Golden State miraculously dropped the first game, and the Celtics have won, which wasn't supposed to happen. So the NBA is garbage, but college
I
is
just
pretty
like
fun.
how their championship game is literally just called the finals.
Yeah.
Like how lame is that?
Well, I think back in the day, fact check me too, I'm pretty sure it was called the NBA Finals. I don't know why it's just called the Finals now as opposed to World Series, Super Bowl, Stanley Cup.
They don't have any kind of special
World
name
Cup.
for it. It's literally just called the finals.
World champions of hoop-de-hoop.
I mean, it can't really be world champions because they don't do other countries.
It is an international game. Have you not seen the Olympics?
No, that's what I'm
other
saying.
countries?
That's what I'm saying. It is an international game, but
I mean,
like, the NBA
so-
doesn't do international.
so-
Let's be real.
You don't have Italy
America's
coming
the
over.
best at basketball.
I don't know. Didn't they?
There's a fact check for that. Technically, America's lost to Serbia, the USSR, Yugoslavia, and several other.
I'm gonna say they
nations.
dropped in the last Olympics. They were dropping big games, but I mean that's a lot
Okay,
of.
America is no longer the
Recently,
best
they've
at
lost to
basketball.
Serbia in 2019, and they got obliterated.
I think it's also There's a lot of that, but there's also a lot of like different teams in America. I don't know how many leagues they have or teams they have in the league in Serbia.
Was that for the
But
Olympics?
they might be
what was
working.
that for?
That's
Probably the Olympics or the World's whatever thing they do for what on earth is he playing?
Like was that like NBA players
it's
that
playing
lost
itself.
or what?
It is playing
I'm
itself.
not sure. I
that a
just know
commercial?
the
Well,
United
that's-
States lost to
that's
Serbia,
animation of the action
USSR,
Might be
communist
He's dropping
Yugoslavia.
some frames.
Hard to tell. It is an old phone, so he
And
probably
other
is dropping
nations.
frames.
Yeah, I like the Olympics. That's my favorite.
The Olympics?
Thing to watch.
I love watching the Olympics because it's the one time every other year, counting the Winter Olympics, where all the countries in the world are like, hey, let's go and win at the thing that we're really good at. And America walks in, it's like, oh, let's go win at all the things.
I do like that, and then I do like the cool stories.
Oh, my bad. We got to cut that.
I don't think
I was
we can
thinking-
talk about that.
We got to cut that.
I was thinking.
I do enjoy watching the Olympics. I like watching
that
the
probably
Summer
shouldn't go
Olympics.
on YouTube.
Yeah, none of that should probably go on YouTube
Let's get
unless
that
you want to get
15
demonetized and we want to get like canceled.
We don't get monetized anyway.
And we don't get canceled because
Hey.
You
you
guys
got
also have federal jobs.
We might need to cut all of that.
I didn't say
You guys
anything.
wanna
Along
leave
with
the
him
part-
saying what he said is just, hey, I like the Olympics. Well, you know, the Summer Olympics. It's like, why is he laughing all of a sudden?
When is the Summer Olympics this
the
year?
Summer
Next year?
Olympics is the
Next year?
2020, 2024.
Yeah.
So it's in 2024. So
Wait,
we
no,
had
I thought the Winter Olympics was supposed to be in 2020.
so 2020. So
We had him.
Summer Olympics was supposed to happen in 2020, but COVID, so they pushed it to 2021.
2021.
The Winter Olympics happened this winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it already happened.
'Cause it
Remember
was-
Russia?
that was in-
Wait,
yeah,
that was this year.
yeah, because
Yeah,
Russia
it was
got
it.
banned for
Again.
being Russia.
Yeah.
Some of them got banned.
So
It was
Summer
weird.
Olympics will happen in August of August of 2024.
Russia's whole situation.
I was thinking that was last year.
Yeah,
You're right, it's not the
COVID
same.
messed up a lot of the schedules of how people
I was
perceive when the Olympics happen because we had the Summer Olympics and then the following spring we had the winter.
I was-
the
Yeah.
following winter we had the
Yeah.
Winter Olympics.
I was
and
very
everyone
hyped
was-
for the Summer Olympics, but I didn't really get to watch any because I was working.
It's hard to watch it. Well, this
was
past summer,
Tokyo,
yeah,
so
so
it was-
it was
very
it was
hard
in
to
like
watch.
10
China?
hours.
Or no, the winter was in China. Where was the summer ones?
Tokyo,
It was
Okay,
Tokyo.
which both both them
Basically
10
the
hours
same,
behind.
yeah.
It's
Well, I was just saying because of the sports they added. 'Cause they added rock climbing, surfing, skateboarding.
and some of the sports they take out because the host country gets to choose.
yeah.
Not all the sports, but I think there's like a flex number of sports that they get to choose to
Mm-hmm.
bring in as opposed to kick out. Like the year that they had it in London, cricket was in, and we haven't seen cricket since.
Really?
I think so.
Golfing
yeah.
was in that year too. I don't know if it's.
I think
been
so.
back.
All those
Cricket's a crazy
old
sport.
Rugby's made it into.
every time I watch a John Boy breakdown of like cricket, I'm like, I have no idea why on earth these guys, first of all, can hit and angle a ball to like deflect behind them and then score 22 points going between two defenders when it hits the wall, but 18 points if it doesn't hit the wall. Cricket's wild. I don't understand cricket.
I should figure out the rules to that game.
Yeah, but it's so complicated, and we're not British or Saudi Arabian, so who cares?
Or
Indian.
Yeah, that's right. India does play it.
That's
but
because they were once a nation.
Yeah.
I mean, they're currently a nation.
currently
They-
a nation.
Yeah,
They were
that's
once a
it.
colony.
Yeah.
British colony. I read a book about that.
Did you? That's cool.
What about India specifically, or just?
It was
Colonization.
the Nepean.
Bless you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to butcher the name, but it was the affair. Whenever they
Oh, okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was really-
I know what you're talking about.
it was
There's
very-
that incident that happened with the British colonel or whatever. that
Yeah.
There was some riot, and then he had his troops kill a bunch of Indians, and they're
No,
all
this
butthurt about
is-
that still. Oh.
This one is he was a merchant because we were learning about the colonies and the merchants, and he was one of the merchants who basically got like screwed over because he was making too much money.
Oh.
He didn't become Catholic.
In India?
Well, yeah, because that's why the Jesuits went over there. It was
Jesuits there?
Yes, Jesuits. They were very big over in India because this was
I don't keep up with
this
their whole
wasn't
countries.
I don't
this
either.
was France took over it. This part, Pondicherry.
Okay.
The author
It's
of
a
the
very
book,
French-sounding name.
It is.
Pondicherry. Yeah, the author of the book was actually the person we had read her book, and had like a meeting with her.
Interesting.
Speaking of France, does anybody know when the Cathedral of Notre Dame is supposed to be finished being rebuilt? or
That's
whatever?
right, because it got like not burnt down, but severely
Yeah.
damaged in the riot fires of 2020. Right? Is that when that happened?
No, it
Or
wasn't.
was
It
terrorist
wasn't.
fire?
It got I thought it got hit by like lightning.
No,
Is
it
that what
would
happened?
get caught on fire.
Was it a construction accident? What was? There was something that
No,
got
it
attacked by.
it got caught on fire.
Arc de
though.
Triomphe.
Man, I don't know.
Okay.
How does that get on fire? It's made out of concrete.
You can set concrete on fire.
That's hard.
Yeah, but
I've never seen it.
what is it? Jet fuel melts steel beams or something like that.
No, that's dank memes.
That's right. That's
I
right.
remember. Have you ever seen like ghost fires? It's
So I've seen fires. I have not seen ghosts.
like-
so
it's like in F1 racing, since like the fuel they use
I'm
is
not-
so like
I'm not
pure.
European, so I don't watch.
I don't watch it either, but someone showed me. It's like the fire's invisible, basically. So the guy will get out of the car, he'll be freaking out, and no one will understand why he's freaking out.
Because they can't see the fire,
They
but
can't
the temperature's so high on him.
Yeah,
wild.
basically you have to like treat him like you can't get near him and help him, or else you just become on fire and you don't know it either. It's just insane.
It's like a JoJo's stand power or something.
Yeah,
That's-
you just
that's
see them running
freaky.
around, and they I think it's not too bad. I mean, it's fire, so you just like put a blanket on.
It's not too bad. You're just on fire.
And no one knows.
Just stop, drop, and roll, not apply anymore if you've got ghost fire on
Well,
you.
I think it's just, it's not like a normal fire. I think it's like it gets like coated on you because it's like a fuel.
Oh, can you not stop, drop, and roll?
Honestly,
No,
yeah.
I don't. I honestly don't remember what happened. Just remember someone telling me about it, and I saw like he showed me a video, and I was like, oh my.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But
It's
I
on
can't,
fire, but I can't
It's
tell.
hard to speak about a phenomenon that I have not seen nor
Chase, pull it
can
up.
see. I mean, he can pull it up. It'll be like, oh, yeah, we're gonna watch this. Might not go
Turn
far.
around and then turn around the.
That's
Show us the quick.
For some reason, I keep getting all these news stories about F1 racing. For some reason, I don't know why.
I feel like it's interesting.
Do you guys have the same search history? Because I don't get anything for
I've
F1.
searched it up
I've
on my
never
phone.
searced anything about F1 racing.
I've
like,
never
ever,
searched anything.
and it
Have-
just
I don't get
started
anything
popping
about
up.
it.
For some
Have you
reason.
about
not
to get
seen
some
an
stuff about
ad
F1
in
racing.
Amazon or an AdSense thing in Google search that you accidentally clicked on but wasn't related to F1?
Not
but
to
might
my
have popped-
knowledge.
I'm trying to think of how.
Do you
Someone
still
said
have Elliot in the morning on?
No.
Santa Monica.
Because they talk about F1 on there sometimes.
Yeah, and if your
That might
phone's
get caught.
listening to you, it might.
Yeah, I haven't had.
You're about to get
Elliot on
so
in the
much
morning
more
for
I
For
a
think
while.
F1 is becoming much more popular in the States. Like just
Really?
as a whole.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
think
mean,
it's
even
more
just on
interesting.
Reddit.
More than NASCAR.
If you go
or-
to like r slash
not
all, F1 is always on there.
So Reddit's
To be fair,
demographic.
Reddit is very European pro.
Yeah.
Also, there was the big Miami race, which was a big Formula One race, which I think
that's true.
and
Verstappen won, maybe.
and the
Or he
Reddit
was in it.
demographic is largely urban white men,
Definitely.
at least in America. So
Definitely.
for us normal boomers out, in the Suburbans,
I'm
it's
not a.
you're a boomer. Look at your shirt.
No.
won't look at it, or
Literally the only time I ever encounter F1 is in video games because I get these bundles that come across periodically in my email. It's like, buy this F1 Formula bundle. I'm like, no, why? I don't watch F1 or NASCAR, so why would I buy any of this stuff?
You play games that are
No.
tangentially related to F1?
No, I just get
you just get
advertisements.
bundles.
Yeah, when you buy things,
like the humble bundles.
yeah,
those are
when you
always
just
on
buy
sale.
things from digital distributors, they'll just send you
I'm
garbage. Be like,
pretty-
buy our F1 bundle. I'm like,
Okay.
no, I'm not
pretty
European.
Sure F1
I
stuff's
think
always
I've-
on sale.
I
they're
think I've
always out
seen
there.
stuff for F1 racing.
Yeah,
games on
it
Steam
comes
as
up
well,
a
and
couple times a season. And I'm just like, I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
watch or play
just
this.
those random times where Steam's like, update me, and I was like, oh, fine, and then it comes up with that newsletter thing. It's just like F1, F1, F1. I'm like, why?
Exactly.
I don't know. If I was gonna watch any racing, I'd probably be.
Yes,
F1.
So either
yeah.
F1
Above
or
NASCAR.
like the
Plus, I'm in the pit.
crotch rocket version of F1 where they do the motorcycle.
The little like mini bike.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they do
And
like
their
the
knees are
leaning. Oh
straightened on the
yeah.
ground.
And if they
and
go
you're
too
like-
fast or lean wrong, they like hit air time and just take
Yeah.
off. Saying, that stuff is
Yeah.
wild.
And they land, they just get up and they start kicking their motorcycle after they
that's-
crash. You're
I
like,
will
what are you
not.
doing?
F1 and
You're crazy.
and motorcycle racing just seems like, I realize sports are dangerous and you have a chance of dying,
I'm not going 100.
but there's just something about F1 where it's like I'm going like 720 miles an hour. My vehicle can literally fly if I hit the right turn, and if I wreck, if I live, I might have ghost fire on me now, and no one can help me.
I'm also just strapped in. It's not like
Yeah, you're not
I
getting
can't
out of
just
that.
like
yeah, I know
have to
nothing.
fight out of it.
I know nothing about F1 other than the fact that the Indy 500 is Memorial Day. When's the Indianapolis 500? Memorial Day. So we just had that.
That's NASCAR.
What I was about to say,
No,
the
no,
Indy
okay.
500 is NASCAR.
Is it what's the F1 series racing?
The Monaco.
Is-
Monaco,
Monaco, yeah.
Is it
Santa Monica.
Yeah, it was the Monaco,
No,
the
Santa
Coca-Cola
Monica.
600, and the Indy 500 are all Memorial Day.
Maybe that's it. But yeah, that's the only time I ever hear
What is
about
the
it.
Coca-Cola 600?
NASCAR.
Why are there 2 NASCAR races on the same day?
Why wouldn't there be?
They're in 2 different places.
Wait, no. Coca-Cola 600 is the NASCAR one. The Indy 500 is the F1 one, right?
No, Indy 500 is not F1.
Okay, we have phones. Go fact check this because I'm certain Indy 500
I thought
is
Indy 500 was always
F1
no.
because it's
Yeah,
the
NASCAR.
Daytona 500
Oh,
in
maybe.
February, the week after the week after the Super
You
Bowl
might be right. I
is
might-
NASCAR, which is the
The 500 means how many laps you're doing, right?
that's how many miles. Yes.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
Formula
Oh,
1.
okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I always had that backwards.
Yeah,
then.
of
Indy
course.
500.
Nice.
Where is the Indy 500? Where does it take place?
In
Indianapolis. It's Indy. But yeah, that's the only time I ever hear about it because a couple years ago, okay, boomer, 10, 15, Danica Patrick was like, hey, I'm going to do Indy 500. And everyone's like, first of all, what is Formula One racing? And second of all, you're a woman. Why are you racing people?
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, because you're not old like me.
You just called me a boomer earlier.
Yeah, your shirt is.
Your face is.
I made an honest mistake.
Your brain is.
I should not have engaged. But yeah, that's the only time I ever hear about F1. So, and video game bundles.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What, cool to race?
Yeah.
I mean, I like racing. Like when you go to theme parks and you get to race go-karts.
I've never actually done that.
Like that's
Yeah, I've-
fun.
Every time I've seen like a go-kart thing, they're always like, oh, don't run into each other. I'm like, why not?
Yeah, because
Well, yeah, they're-
it damages the vehicles, especially when you're going like 30, 35 miles an hour.
But they've got those bumpers.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Listen,
You have to sign a waiver. to
so
do this,
so
right?
you see the bumpers in the bowling alley sometimes. If you were just to chuck an 18-pound bowling ball as hard as you can at the bumper, do you think they would appreciate that?
No, they
That's
yell
what
at
it's
you.
there for.
Yeah, you just say, "Oops, my bad," and they can't do anything about it. What are you gonna do? Send you away?
You
Oops.
you
You
are
paid to use the establishment.
you are correct. I might as well take a crap in the middle of the lane too, because I paid to use the
Oh
establishment.
no, they have that.
That's called indecent exposure.
There's a lot of children at bowling alleys, Jeff.
And they can pull their pants down and poop in the middle of the lane.
That's different. They're little children.
Why
is that
They don't
different?
know any better.
They don't know better.
They
You're an
should.
adult.
Jeff
you're
might not-
you're a boomer.
Are we
They
sure
should
Jeff
know
knows
better.
better? Are we sure he knows better?
They should know better.
Are we sure you know better?
So yeah, the Nats have a crappy season right now for baseball.
I mean, baseball sucks.
I don't watch hockey, but I take it the Caps are out of the.
Yeah.
Well, they've been out. They've been out for a while
so they've
now.
been out, and I haven't been keeping track of who's been playing hockey.
I think it's an interesting game.
Was
sport
it
to
the
watch. I like
Lightning?
Carolina.
That sounds
has,
about right.
Yeah, the Hurricanes.
Oh. Okay.
Oilers? Yeah.
Calgary. Okay. Yeah, I don't watch hockey.
I don't watch it, but it is something that, like, when you turn it on, I'm a little bit more interested.
Hockey seems like an interesting sport. I just don't.
Sometimes I do get lost when, like, the puck goes somewhere and the camera's just like, where?
Yeah.
Like if hockey's on and if it's the Caps, sometimes I'll watch it, but I don't like Erik kind of like go out of my way to watch it.
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, I don't actually ever really watch hockey. I just kind of keep up with it.
I guess I'm the
news-wise,
same way
kind
with
of a little
baseball
bit.
too, because there aren't too many times where I'm like, I'm gonna sit down and watch a whole game. It's usually just on,
I like highlights.
or I'll check the highlights for baseball, because even I'm like, hey, a week straight of games where I'm watching pitching and
That's
and
another
hitting,
thing
which
about
is
baseball.
interesting. Yeah, it's.
You gotta keep up with the pitching rotations.
It's a marathon, yeah, and you want to watch particular pitchers like Josiah Gray. He's good.
Who's Josiah Gray?
He's
I've
the
heard that name
pitcher
yet.
that we got from LA in the Max Scherzer trade. He was like a prospect, came up for LA for a little bit, went down.
So maybe actually worth it.
So in the long run, I would say yes, considering Max tore his.
He's injured again.
Yeah, so he's pretty much done for the season. So I would say it was probably a good trade. But Josiah has some pretty good promise, I would say. He's not killing it every game, but he's coming in, usually doing 6 or 7 innings and not losing the game, which for the Nats right now is great because every time Corbin comes in, I'm like 4 homers by the second, and they pull him in the third with 100 pitches. I'll take this kid.
I was about to say, speaking of pitchers, last night Max Fried finally didn't screw up for the Braves.
Oh yeah?
He went 8 innings, so that was
wow. How many runs, hits?
I think so. They were tied going into at least the 10th at 0-0.
That's a solid outing.
Yeah,
that's a really solid outing. That's cool. I should follow, what's his face out in LA? Not LA, Anaheim. Yeah, I should follow because
that's still LA.
Every time I see the tickers come across, I'm like, here he is hitting, and here he is being a monster again. Oh, it's his time to pitch. Time to pitch like crazy. I don't know. It's harder for me to follow pitchers as much hitting anymore because they ubiquitize that. So I'm a boomer, and the NL should have hitting pitchers because that distinguishes the leagues.
Yeah,
and
there's no distinguishing the two.
You
leagues
do
now.
lineups differently now because of that. And
I was about to say the Braves have 2 really good hitting catchers in d'Arnaud and Contreras now, and they're both just hitting. I'm like, this is great, but
yeah,
where's the distinction between the leagues?
You lose some of the strategy that comes with having to not deal with that part of the rotation, and you lose padding stats for a pitcher in the NL now because you don't get a freebie anymore. Well, you don't normally get a freebie now with the pitcher. But
I was about to say also last year the Braves had like 2 of the best hitting pitchers as far as I could tell.
Oh yeah,
with Fried and I always mispronounce his name, but Yanoa.
Okay, yeah.
Before he got really upset and broke his hand by punching a wall, he hit like a home run in like 3 games that he pitched back to back to back.
I remember that.
I was just like, well, now he's just breaking his hand, and somehow we won the World Series. I still don't know how that happened.
Yeah. How did you do that?
I don't know. We were below 500 at the All-Star break.
I mean, we won our World Series being way below 500 at the end of May.
It seems to just be an NL East thing, I guess, then.
So maybe there is hope for the Nats.
There's not hope for the Nats.
We had a good team that season. We just didn't know how to play baseball until Davey's like, Baby Shark. And everyone's like, I guess we're going to win a World Series now.
Is that guy back in the MLB, or is he still over
So
in Japan?
he was in the league last year. I don't think they picked his Para's contract up again for this year. If they did, he's...
How big is baseball in Japan? I know they have a bitty.
It's
like. Why don't you look at Erik and ask that question?
Yeah, it's massive.
I've seen it, and I hear it's like high school teams are massive.
I would almost say it's bigger in Japan than it is America.
And Korea.
Yeah,
it's big.
I would say
South Korea.
It's weird. It's weird.
Thanks for the distinction, Erik.
All the great players eventually make their ways to America, but the popularity of the sport seems to be its biggest outside of America. Like
Yeah.
Latin America and Southeast Asia, Japan, Korea seem to be the biggest hubs for baseball in the world right now.
I've seen some stuff, and I've always
Yeah, it's
thought
wild.
they get way more hype,
They do.
and they just do more. I mean, just culturally, I think they just do more, which is really cool. I feel like that's a big thing that we miss in America. Is like, because I remember hearing something about it because people were like, your team's playing, because it was in reference to football. And it was a European, like a British person.
Soccer.
And no, I'm talking about American football.
Oh, okay.
So they were talking to an American football fan, and they're like, you're not gonna go see your team? And he's like, I don't think you realize my team's like 4 states over, and that doesn't seem far. That's like traveling all of England.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
This is basically going from your top to the bottom.
America's a vast country.
It's a very large country, so I can't just go to a
Right.
game where they're like, oh,
Get on a bullet train.
I
Here
just
we
get
go.
on a train and I go to like the next town over, and I get to see, Manchester United face, the Devils or whatever.
Yeah.
Who
So
cares?
you can drive from one side of Texas to the other like for a full day and still be in the same state.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
it's massive, and it's like one of those things where I feel like that also kind of affects the level of fandom that
Yeah,
you can get
it
into.
definitely does.
Because like, yeah, I mean, it's really cool with like baseball because they do a lot of series, and you're like, you have 7 games, a certain amount of them are going to be at home, some of them are going to be away, but like at the same time, it's not the same.
Right.
So I feel like that's why a lot of like other countries have a really cool,
Yeah.
close knit group, because like, hey, our team is playing like 3 hours away
Yeah, it's
on
a
the
lot easier to
train.
travel.
Let's just all get on the train and go there. Here it's like our team's playing in Michigan. We're in Maryland.
That might be why the NL East, not counting Atlanta because you guys are so far south, but like
Yeah.
having Philly and the Nationals and
Yeah.
the Mets be within like train rides from each other essentially, you can get some pretty wild rivalries and stuff going on. And I guess same way with like the Orioles and the
Also,
Yankees.
just screw the Phillies.
Yeah, screw the Phillies.
Screw the Phillies.
We're still going to that game, right? Doubleheader, just so we can talk bad about Philly.
I mean,
Sure.
whenever we make sure we can get off, Erik.
Erik.
Yeah, I just like, I feel like that's a big thing that they have over there.
Yeah,
in
no,
other
I
countries that we don't have here.
I think that's fair. Totally not different. So West Virginia football, we had that problem this entire past decade because of the teams we were playing before we moved to the Big 12 were all East Coast teams. And the fan traveling, our fan base is usually really good at traveling to games, so
Yeah.
we'd have a pretty big presence on away games. But in the Big 12, it's been a lot harder for us because all our games are in like Texas and Oklahoma and
Oh,
Kansas.
yeah.
And the
That's a
fan
bit of a
and the
travel.
fan base just isn't as used to traveling out west there, much less having West Virginians out there.
That's-
So it's been really odd for the team the past
Oh,
decade
yeah. I mean,
trying to do that.
There's a big thing about being away.
Yeah.
A lot of you lose a lot when you're away.
You do.
It's very hard to win away games.
Yeah, and apparently for the
On that
Nationals,
level.
it's hard to win home games too, because we still don't have a home World Series game win. But I'll take it, whatever.
I mean, it's a World Series one.
A World
so-
Series is a World Series, except
Yeah.
for
You get the
LA's
pennant,
the
doesn't
year
matter.
after. That one doesn't count.
Correct.
That one, I think the entire league says that one doesn't count, and the Astros from the year or the year before.
2017?
Yeah, that one doesn't count either.
Yeah.
I don't care what the MLB says. Doesn't count. Not in my book. They cheated.
I knew they cheated. I don't remember how they cheated.
So in baseball, all right.
In baseball, you use a bat and a ball. Oh,
Yes, you do. So
Got
the
it.
reaction speed it takes for a human being to see a ball thrown at high 80s, low 90s, much less high 90s,
yeah.
there comes a point to where you cannot see the ball coming and try to change your swing accordingly. You have to predict where it comes to.
Okay, yeah.
If you are given as the hitter where the pitch is going to be, how much of an advantage do you think that's going to be?
Oh, so they're reading signs.
That's what happened.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So in baseball, that's a huge deal.
Is
And
it
they
technically
weren't.
legal? Because I feel like
Depends on how
I
you
feel
do
like
it.
Yeah.
it's scummy as all get out.
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
the way
like
the way they
if
were
they're-
doing it.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
way they were doing it is they had a camera set up in the
Oh.
outfield that was zoomed in on the catcher.
Smacking on trash cans
Yeah.
to listen to what kind of like.
But if you're a runner on second base
And
and
you
you
steal
can
a
see that
sign,
and
fair
you can
game.
and you can tell the person that's batting,
fair game.
fair
I guess
game.
yeah. I feel like that's 100%
Yeah.
better because you're in the game.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah,
You're
it-
just helping your team.
Yeah.
But if you're outside the
Yeah.
game and you're giving, that's really
So
scummy.
it's pretty much been proven that the Astros did that to win the World Series. And what happened? 2 guys got fined
Something like that.
Some minuscule
$1 million
amount of money.
people get fined,
Yeah.
a few thousand
pre-
to charity.
pretty much.
Oh no.
And then some of them had left the team prior to that or something, and that was it. That was pretty much the
I
only
feel
hand
like
slap.
that's also a big thing with high level sports is like at the same time, it's like nice that you're like finding them and they're giving, but it's like okay, I'm just gonna continue to do what I'm doing.
With the money they make, that's.
I mean, they won the series, so they made a bunch of money.
Yeah, that's like spending whatever we're gonna spend at Mexico for food later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
like
that was
it's
like nothing.
It's pocket change.
So yeah,
And the thing that sucks for that team is they were a good team.
yeah, they
And
were.
they still are a good team.
Yeah, and cheating on top of being a good team, the whole league was pissed.
Yeah.
It also
Especially
just
the
cheapens
Yankees.
the game.
We got to cut this part out. That shouldn't be in
I
there.
don't know what this is. Oh, okay, never mind.
But yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. The entire league was completely upset about that, as they should have been. And as you know, yeah. But
I mean, cheating in of itself just ruins games.
it does.
That and then when you overplay games, like when you take the fun out of it.
try hard. Well,
No. Try harding's fine at a certain level. Like if I'm with my homies, I'm not gonna try hard.
or like at a professional level, when like millions of dollars
Yeah.
on the line, you're like, I'm gonna be the best of this. I think
That's-
being, I
that's
think,
good.
I think
Yeah.
being a try
I'm
hard is
saying
fair.
more like
Yeah.
like don't get me wrong, I like baseball being faster, but when you take because they shortened batters and
Yep.
hitters time and pitchers times, like
Yep. Which
when-
I actually agreed with, because some of them were being ridiculous with
I think
just
there's
the sacrificing they were doing with all their stuff before they
there
let the
is
pitcher
some
hit.
like ridiculousness to it, but like at the same time, when you start taking stuff away from the game, it can start to change it.
I mean, every game goes through those.
Like football, whenever they move the
Evolution.
kicking up and like for like the
Oh, for the
first
point
3
afters?
games, no, when they move the kicking up, the kickoff, for
Oh,
like, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
you're just like, well, so they can run it back,
So-
and they might get it farther than we do, or we can just kick it through the end zone easily, and then they just have it at the 25.
That was for the concussion reason.
It was, and I
Which
get it, but at the
It's
same time,
football.
exactly, that was my defense. I was like, these guys are all making a bajillion dollars, and they're all mutants.
I mean,
so
if
I
they're-
don't see a
if
I was
problem.
about to say,
really-
what's the difference between getting a concussion off a kickoff or getting a concussion on any other play?
My only thing I will say is the defenselessness of someone.
Oh
catching
yeah,
the
I mean,
ball.
I'll call
Isn't
it, but there's a
that's what-
halo
I was
rule.
about to say, isn't
Yeah,
there
you
like a
have
fair
to-
catch
Yeah,
rule or
the- yeah, the
something?
halo
Or is
rule.
that
You
just punts?
That's
That's
every
every
kick.
kick.
That's
That's
every
every kick. So
kick,
I
that's-
mean, yeah, just if you're worried about getting pummeled, fair catch it.
What they were concerned
Can't do that
with
in
was
rugby.
on the kickoffs. There's a lot more time to have acceleration in the
speed
player.
is
Yeah, so
insane.
those guys. But I mean,
When you see those like the big hits, when you just watch the big hit highlights, and you
Oh,
just
yeah.
see a guy just
but those dudes are
was a
so
loud clap.
big,
Sorry,
and
Chase.
they're so big and they're so fast anyway. I mean, they can go from 0 to 60.
When there's a
in
guy-
flat. You could get a concussion
I
in
would
any
say-
play. They could be as far as I am to Chase right now, and if they went full sprint towards me, we're both gonna get. I'm gonna get a concussion.
Well,
They'd be fine.
I don't know. So this is actually a big thing that's different, and why there's obviously concussions in rugby, but why it's different is because the level of equipment
Yeah.
and the level of actual skill when it comes to tackling. When you see tackling in rugby and you see tackling in football, it is night and day the difference they put and the skill they put into actually like training
Yeah.
tackling. It's you get low, you square up, you keep your shoulder on the right side. If they're running to your right, you put your head on the left side so you're not in front of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Football, they're like, I got a helmet, I got pads, and so does he.
I mean, theoretically, that's how they
train.
should tackle the NFL as well. The thing is, I don't know rugby as well, so you can check me on this. The disparity in the athletic body types in football, I think, are a little more disparate than they are in rugby. Because when you got a wide receiver or a safety that is strong but still skinny and tall, as opposed to a linebacker that's 6'6", 260 and a freaking mutant, when he
It's-
comes and hits you,
It's
or when you try to tackle him, I don't
disparity's actually sometimes bigger.
really.
There's
And do they still
There's-
tackle the same way?
they have
Regardless?
to. Yeah, there's the so
Is
one of my-
there like a rule, or is it just
it's
good practice?
it's just what they do. It's just
Oh,
this
okay.
is like the best way to tackle is that way. It's wrap up, get low, keep your head safe. But no, the person who like I watched and really got me into rugby, like wanting to play rugby, was Faf de Klerk. He's like 5'8", 5'9", my height, and he's going up against freaks of nature, like 300-pound,
Mhm.
6'6" guys, 6'7" guys. Like there's a picture of like him sitting next to like I think another guy on the South African team who's like legitimately like a head or two up. And they call him the Giant Slayer because he tackles those guys Like he doesn't.
Wow.
Yeah, he's insane.
So are there like fouls in rugby? Like how does that work?
Yeah, there's high tackles. There's like
which I think football doesn't call it a high tackle, but you can't crown somebody with your helmet, which I guess
well,
is
you
gotta be
can't
tackle.
You can't do that in rugby, obviously.
Right.
But
You
it's more
technically can't
it's
do
more
it
of
in-
like if they're going low and you just basically put your arm around like you just tackle around their neck. Stuff like that.
Yeah, the NFL has horse collaring or
horse collar is when you grab it and you
yeah, but
it's
you
a little
can't-
bit different.
Okay.
But I mean, like with when somebody gets a foul, like what do you just give the other team the ball? How does that work?
So there's different kinds. So certain fouls, I forget exactly all the ones. So like a knock on, that's a scrum. If it goes out of bounds, it's a throw in. If there's some fouls will do basically what the other team will have to do is they have to go back 5 meters. So basically the other team will get the ball and you have to go back 5 meters and then you're eligible to tackle again. So you basically it's basically cutting play and then you just back up and at any moment as you're backing up, they can just start running. And you can't do anything until you get back 5 meters. So then you can actually be eligible to tackle again. Or else you'll get another penalty and then you have another 5 meters.
Sounds like a weird cross between our football and their football.
It's very much is, and it's like at the same time it's fun because it's just you're going and you have to listen and know how things are going and see which way the ball is going. There's like
all sports.
Like all sports. But like
that involve a ball.
Yeah. I've played a pretty much all sports besides soccer, and it felt different.
Fencing.
I've done
polo.
I've done water polo.
Cricket.
Have we done
I mean, like on a horse. With
those people are crazy.
The bocce balls. And,
ramming their horses
Aren't
into
those,
each
like,
other.
Jousting.
Maryland State sport.
No.
It's not the same.
Or the thing with the
lacrosse.
Yeah, that.
No, I've done like the big sports, like football.
Lacrosse is big.
Yeah, lacrosse is pretty big.
It wasn't when I was growing up. It wasn't as big when I was growing up.
Being
It's-
semi-facetious.
I mean, it's gotten a lot bigger than
It
it
has.
was.
Whenever it was like some people did it. There's some.
I was about to say,
tribal teams.
it kind of used to be like I'm cool, so I play lacrosse. Now it's just like everybody just does lacrosse.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting. I would have liked to probably try playing it, but again, it's like
it's expensive.
it's expensive. It's
a
rich white person sport.
It is. You have to be in like the right school and all this
That-
stuff.
You know,
Right
you know what
here,
else
yeah.
is a rich white person sport? Polo.
Yeah.
The mallets they use
Mainly
are they
because horses are
bendy?
expensive.
Aren't they bendy? The mallets.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. I want to play
Gonna
croquet at
cut
some
cut this
point.
part out too. He's like,
I have croquet.
It's been so
I
long
got
since I've
spike
done
ball.
croquet.
I got bocce ball.
I've got Monopoly. Twilight
Monopoly
Imperium
is
4th edition.
trash.
We're not the same. We're
You're
the
not.
same.
You're not wrong. Monopoly is kind of garbage.
People who like Monopoly.
I don't know when the last time was that I played Monopoly.
I think the last
Don't
time I
do
played
it.
Monopoly, the board was actually flipped.
Better not have been Star Wars Monopoly.
Oh, I see.
Star Wars Monopoly is the best.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's all I have for that one.
Speaking of Star
I actually have
Wars,
a baseball Monopoly at home.
we have a Parkersburg
There's
Monopoly.
so
Of
many.
course you do.
at home.
They just.
It's been unopened.
It's the same
It's still in the
game.
basement.
It's just the same game.
It's the same
but they're
game,
like,
just with different skins.
let's reskin it.
We have a Snoopy
Welcome
Monopoly.
to every video game nowadays.
I know. But
Where
it's
do
just,
you think they got it
I
from?
just love going to like toy stores back in the day, and it's just like a wall of just different Monopolies, and you're like, it's all the same. It's
Yeah, and some loser would buy one of them.
I've
Hasbro
seen
was the
those
first
losers.
EA.
But in Hasbro's defense, you got the whole game when you bought Monopoly. You didn't have to DLC.
There weren't any bugs
Like-
either.
Like
You
do
got the
with-
whole game, but it was just the same game you already had
and
with
then
a different skin.
And then today's board game climate, we have DLC that are expansions that aren't real expansions. They go back and fix rules and then add things on that
I've
should have been there to begin with.
they're just
I
patching
haven't
the
played
game.
many games like that.
So, not gonna lie, when we played Twilight Imperium 4 with the expansion, I thought was better than base game, but I feel like it's because they fixed a lot of the things that were kind of wonky. And for me, I'm just like, shouldn't that just be the game instead of, which, I get that they're trying to iterate and get back from the fan base and things that would, so that's understandable. You're in the 4th edition, right? It'd be a different thing if the game was
I don't
like,
know,
this is our
D&D's
first
in
time.
five.
I want to know what the first
It
edition
is-
was like.
I don't know. It would be kind of crazy. But I think the amount of time it took to go from like edition
That's
1
how-
to edition 3 was really short.
That's how
I think.
I feel like that's why most games get editions. It was like our rule set is just math, and no one wants that.
Right. And a lot of these games are a lot more complicated than say like Monopoly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm just thinking about because I played D&D and I got in at
So-
5e
So
instead of like 3.5.
Baldur's
or
Gate
4.
Baldur's Gate 2 was my first foray into the rule set of D&D, and I think they used either a variant of 2.5 or 3.0 rule sets.
Like Pathfinder.
Yeah, and I can see why they changed it into different editions because calculating things like AC, what is that?
Armor class.
Yeah, you could have negative numbers. And
It's-
it meant something. Like your AC didn't start at 0 or whatever, like it does in edition 5. It started at like 18.
Oh well, in edition 5, it starts at 10,
Okay.
and you add to it with armor
Okay.
or other spells or your dexterity.
And this one, it like started. It either started 0 or started at 18, and then
Yeah, I think
depending
it
on the
was
direction
18.
it goes, you could go into the negatives, which meant something on rolls.
Because
Based,
yeah, they really made D&D family friendly and easy to get into, and I think that
Yes.
really helped.
I
However, they have gone almost too far in how
Super
much family friend. Yeah, it's just
gatekeeping your nerd.
At
stuff.
least it's not considered.
no,
a
no,
death
it's not
cult now.
gatekeeping. It's like they instead of just leaving it at homebrew and stuff. It's like, yeah, my orc's a nice orc. They're like, orcs can be whoever they want. My orc doesn't have a +2 to strength. He's a +2 to. It's like, okay, you didn't have to tell us that could happen.
That's gay.
Well,
Just put that in there as homebrew. Just be like, you can do whatever you want because that's D&D. Instead of going, this is reality.
we almost spent the whole time talking about sports, but we just spoiled it here right at the end.
Good.
I'll take the blame for
Why-
that. Monopoly's
why-
garbage. You're garbage. Everyone's garbage. And with that, the show is also garbage. I've been your host, kind of.
Garbage.
Jeff, clear to my left was.
Garbage.
That was Ben.
Yep, and in my to my
Garbage.
other left was
No, it's still the same left. It's not as far to the left.
yeah, to my not as far left.
No, it's very clearly to his left.
Aaron.
Thanks for watching.
We hope you enjoyed watching BakaTaka. If you like the music, check the description for details. And we hope to see you in the next one. I gotta go. I got some eBay bids to double check. Bye bye.
2 people were gonna show up.
You
like,
won't see
that's-
us.
Oh yeah, this is BakaTaka. It's trash. It's all garbage. We don't even talk about anime anymore. We actually all hate anime. Anime's
I've never
disgusting.
actually watched anime still.
Your
like
life is
anime.
better for it. I think
Yeah.
if we polled the audience right now, hey George, would your life be better without watching anime?
I like doing food. Wow, Aaron's kicking me out.
Yeah, get out of the way.
All done.
Wonderful.
I want to eat.